A lot of you have a lot of burning questions about the campaign I did where I played D&D with a bunch of gang members. One side was Crips and the other side was the other side of Bloods, the gang members in which I did those things with. So, I'm here to answer the questions that you have burning inside of your heart and desires to primarily answer these things to make sure that you guys are able to get a better understanding of how I did this and why I did this. So I have a spreadsheet of basically questions that people have been asking me generally, and I'm going to go through all the questions. But before I do that, I'm going to answer a few general questions, primarily that I keep getting in a constant array. My hair. I did not dye my hair this color because I wanted to do this story. That is psychotic. I know it's probably a joking question, but I feel like they need to answer this. Why does my hair look like this? I feel like an anime protagonist, and my hair looks like an anime protagonist hair, and that's why I have my hair like this. That is it. I do not need a haircut. I do not want a haircut. This is how I choose to look. Please stop commenting on others' appearances. Please grow as a person, I beg of you. But if you guys wish to keep continuing to comment on my hair, you're more than welcome to do so. I will not stop you. I can't control how you operate as people. Now then, let's talk about another common question I seem to get a lot of the time. I didn't know the gang existed outside of LA. I didn't know the Blues and the Reds existed outside of LA. They do. I don't know what small niche hole in the universe you live in which you don't know where they do live like that. I have no clue. They do. They are everywhere, spread to and fro everywhere. They exist outside of just LA. There's Vice Lords outside of Chicago. There's many different things outside of the world that you live in your small conceited bubble. What? Wait a minute. A question I get a lot is, wait, you're telling me that people that are from the hood actually like nerdy stuff? Yes, every black person's seen Dragon Ball Z. Just wanted to understand that and tell you that right now. Now then, I would like to explain the first question. Why didn't the campaign pull you out of gang activity? Here we go. So, I didn't care. I still committed gang activity until I was 18, and probably a little bit more until I was 23. So, there's that. I just want to point that out. Why didn't I get out of it? Why didn't it get you out of it? Because I was organized and everything. I just needed them to stop so I could protect myself. I was narcissistic, evil. I don't know why people think I'm a good person. I don't grasp that. I don't know why people think I'm just this amazing, holier than thou, great person. On top of that subject, a lot of people kept asking me, why did you bully Tom? What did Tom do? I was a bully. I was mean. I was messed up. Welcome to the real world. Not every person is good. Not every person is great. I grew up not so great. I was in a gang. Whoa, does that mean that I was nice? No. Does that mean that I was good? No. I got them to do a community event of playing one game. I DM'd it because I'm really good at improvising, and I was able to do it in DM for those people. The reason I chose D&D is because I saw a bunch of nerds play it, and they seemed to be having fun, and it looked like the nerds that didn't like each other came together to play one game. That's what I thought was a good idea. I just want to know the general mechanics you use, or rules you take out, which ones you modify, did you DC dice? That's a big loaded question, but I guess I'll answer it. We did use dice. We used D4s, D6s, and D20s. Mostly D20s, because it was a lot easier to do that. We used the facilitating rules of the 4th edition, because 4th edition came out, I believe, in I think summer of 2008. I don't know the exact metric. I'm guessing here. So I'm guessing summer of 2008. I might be wrong. If somebody wants to fact check me and say that I'm lying, like everybody keeps saying I'm lying. But 4th edition came out in 2010. I don't know when it came out. I think it's 2008. I'm guessing summer 2008. That's my guess. So stop fact checking everything I do because I don't remember every minutia, small, ignorant little detail. It's agitating and it bothers me deeply. So, as I was saying, continuing forward, the rules that we did, let's say there was a battle. Let's say they encountered 5 piggos. Piggos were the names we used for cops. So 5 piggos, they were half man, half beast, and they spoke undercommon, and they proceeded to approach, and there was a combat. I would explain the scenario in a scenario. Let's say there was, because one character was a pimp, and he said, well, I have 2 bottoms on my side. Bottom B's are bottom, you can guess what the other word is. Bottom B's were on his side. So he would explain his skill set and explain what he could or couldn't do, because he didn't know what he could and couldn't do all the time. He said, okay, you said we're in the middle of the street, so there's cars going through. I said, yes, there's cars. Can I seduce him into the street? Because we're going into oncoming traffic. I said, you can try to seduce him for sure. You would have to roll a 12. He said, well, don't I get a +2 to my roll because it's a seduction roll and I'm a pimp? And I said, do you want to use, you don't have a same-sex bonus. There's no same-sex bonus for this. He said, okay, can we work it out? Because I am, let's say my character's bisexual. And that would get everybody to say like, whoa, hold up a second. That's strange. You bisexual? It's like, no, my character is bisexual. I want to say my character's bisexual so he can allure men. It should work like that, right? And I said, you know what? It works like that, but I only give you a +1 if it's the same sex. He said, cool, we can do that. So we roll, boom, roll. All right, it's a 14. All right, so 14. You seduce 2 of the piggos out to the street using the allure and mysticism inside of your pimp-like activities. What would you like to say? And then he would give me a line he would want to say, something derogatory or really messed up. I'm not going to repeat that because it was back in 2011 or 2012 and we didn't have PC culture as deeply as we do now. So I don't want to repeat everything that happened there. If I can recount it deeply, I don't want to do that. The rules were basically simple 4th edition rules. I took out a few elements simply because a lot of the stuff that are super complex is really difficult. We had rest days, we had things we had to do, there were campaign goals. I sometimes made encounters at night while they were sleeping. Somebody may have ransacked them and they had to go find the person. I ransacked them and run up on them. I gave them Audis. They loved Audis for some reason. They wanted their mount to be an Audi, and I said, you can have a mystical mount. You can have, nope, we want an Audi. And they were very adamant about the Audis in the game. I don't know why. I have no clue about that. I don't know if that's the thing with, I have no clue. I don't know. I don't know. But generally speaking, I also didn't have this hair back in the day. I was shaved for the most part. I didn't have all this. You just saw my face. It was no hair to associate with accentuate anything about my body. I also didn't have this facial hair. I was pretty much barefaced back in the day. So those are essentially the rules that we ran off of, and that essentially would happen to and fro because a lot of the D&D rules are very confusing. The game is very confusing. D&D is a very complex, intricate, very small, minutia detail game. So when you get into the core crux of everything, it's very difficult to get all that stuff. So now then, the next question is, can I be in the next game? A lot of people have been asking me if I'm ever going to run another game or even find the people in that capacity. I do want to point out that finding the people would be so difficult and insane. Everybody keeps saying, well, the story's getting big. They should be able to see this. It's only 4 million views on TikTok and 800,000 on YouTube. That isn't viral. That isn't some viral thing. That isn't like crazy big. That's still a small niche community. I know 27 YouTubers who have 1 million subscribers that nobody knows. No one knows. You know Funky Frogbait? Nobody knows Funky Frogbait. She has, or they, I'm not sure what their pronouns are, I apologize, 1.27 million subscribers, and none of my friends don't know who that is at all. I talked to somebody about Drew Gooden, and they said, I don't know who Drew Gooden is. So it's not that big of a number. And if they find it and try to contact me, I am more than willing to talk to them. I am more than willing to. But they went by different, interesting hood names. I only know those. That's all I know. I only know their hood names. I don't know their actual names. So there's that. Just want to point that out. Any advice on making a homebrew like the one you did for Chicago or Detroit to Canada? I want to do one for NY to California for my buds and maybe ask if you homie to do it since it's his turn DMing. So, what I would recommend is getting every single detail mapped out. At least having a base setting and understanding. Maybe if you have to change some creatures in that capacity. I would recommend a 1-to-1 ratio for how many creatures are in D&D for how many creatures you want to make, even if none of them pop up. I had 7 creatures that never popped up inside of my campaign at all, despite the fact that I made a bunch of stuff for it. I wrote down in a notebook. A lot of things popped up, but nothing ever came about of those things. So I just want to say, be overly prepared, even if you think nothing will happen, because your members and your party will ruin your entire idea of what you thought you were going to do. You have to be really good at improvising and really good at working on the fly. If you're not good at working on the fly, then by all means, DMing might not be for you. And if you try to have a strict adhere rule set, you got to make it fun. We really adhere to the rule of cool, as you guys call it, the rule of cool. That's really how I operated when I did this campaign. That's generally how I did it. What classes did everybody play? Now I'm not gonna lie to you. I know one was a street pharmacist. I'm not gonna say exactly what that was. A street pharmacist. One was a pimp. I know that. There were many different ones. Oh my god. One was a wave lock. Was a wave lock, which was a wizard, but it controlled waves specifically. Can make people get nauseous. Was one of the lower rudimentary skills that they had. So there's a bunch of different other classes. Some classes didn't get used, and I had to make class advancements. I don't have the notebook, but I do remember specifically the pimp class, because 3 of them chose the pimp class. So I do remember that specifically because that was the most fun for a lot of people. The pimp class was basically the bard, whatever you want to call it, that could seduce people and have them do what they wanted to. So that's kind of how it operated, if you were curious about what specific they were doing in that capacity. So I don't remember each and every class. I barely remember the small minutia details of everything. So there goes that. Who was the white guy? I believe somebody asked me who was the white guy. Who is the white guy in the group? Has everyone from the group decided to reach out to update how they are doing? Nope, they didn't. Not at all. I think some of them may have still been in nerd stuff while they were in high school, and some of them were much older. One of them is a registered flex offender. So yeah, now they are. That happened in 2020, I think. They had done something horrible. So who was the white guy in the group? Tom. He was there. He helped me. Tom was there. I don't know. I didn't point this out, despite the fact that I bullied Tom. Yeah, he was there to help me. He was there, just to and fro. He was like, yeah, I'll make sure everything's going well and make sure you guys are doing the rules right. He was very charismatic. He did not care about any opposition. Great man. Cool dude. He was very nice. Very nice guy. Very nice. Everybody keeps telling me, why did you bully him? It doesn't seem like you're that good of a person. Of course! So agitated when I hear that. I can't believe you bullied Tom. I can believe I bullied Tom. I can believe I bullied anybody back in the day because I wasn't a good person. I dealed illicit substances. I held people at the end of my barrel. I did a horrible amount of things back in the day. So stop expecting me to be a good person when I'm here to tell you a story about real life. Also, stop expecting a good ending to all of this. I'm so agitated when people are like, well, why doesn't this story have a good ending? Because it's not fake. It doesn't have a good ending because it's real. It doesn't have a good ending because not every story has a good ending. Guess what? Not everything in life has a great ending. There's no lesson to be learned from here either. There's no lesson. Why did you stop doing it? Guess what? There's no real lesson for any of this. I'm just telling a story about my life. Why do you want there to be some narrative cohesion to this? Why? Why do you crave that? But there has to be a good ending. This seems like you did a good Samaritan thing. No! The main premise of me doing this, the main goal behind me doing this entire thing was so that I was safer in a neighborhood because my mom accidentally moved me to the red team. I don't know why she did that. Maybe it's because she didn't know I was in a set gang, but I'm so sick of people expecting this to have some great, amazing, narratively cohesive conclusion. It doesn't. It doesn't. Accept that. It was pretty fun to make the D&D scene and the lore. It was pretty fun to witness the intricate minutia of what you can do. It's very nice. It's fun to do those little things. I appreciate that. I really do. It really, because there's such a deep history behind D&D. It's a way for escapism. It's a way to be a different version of yourself, to create a character that you have control over, because nobody chose to be born, but we choose our characters. We choose the narrative parts of our life, and that's really important in D&D, and I love that aspect. I love it so much. It was fun. D&D is very difficult. You really need a good group, and organizing everything is really difficult, but thankfully we all had pretty sweet schedules. I appreciate that. It's fun. It's super fun. DMing is very difficult if you're not able to work with people as they work into and fro. Now back to the main crux of the questions. Roughly, how many people were there? Because it sounded like quite a few. So, how many people were there? That's a great question. How many people were at the current thing? How many people? Must have been a massive undertaking. Learn the game in a couple of days. I am so good at learning new things. I am disgustingly good at learning new things and then understanding them to the point where I can break it down to an idiot. Because I am an idiot. I myself think like a dummy. If I can understand it for myself, because I want to understand it to where an idiot can understand it, then I fully understand the entirety of it. The only way you truly understand something ever, to teach it to somebody, is if you can break it down for somebody that would never understand. That is how you do things. There were 7 people, not including myself. Including myself, there were 8. There were 8 people in total. There was 3 from the blue team, 3 from the red team, and then Tom, and then me. So that was the entirety of everything. Other people would approach me about it, but I kept telling them, so yeah. Oh yeah, there was Man-Man, Man got really into it. I hate giving the names. I hate giving the names of these people. Man really got into it. I remember Man specifically. I don't think anybody's gonna find Man. Man got really into it deeply. He was learning actual D&D. He was the one who encouraged everybody to go to the Renaissance Festival in Holly, Michigan. He encouraged everybody to do that. He got everybody elf ears. He was so excited. He was super into it. And he got into Cowboy Bebop, Inuyasha. He watched Outlaw Star. He started getting into all nerd culture and nerd adjacent things. He just enjoyed that. I think he was really into Warhammer. I remember him making a Facebook post before he get rid of his Facebook. He made a Facebook post about, I think it was Vermintide 1 for Vermintide. He was really excited about Vermintide for some reason. So there goes that. So, what were the details of the setting? Was it like urban fantasy? What did they go to? Why did they go to Canada? Were they doing magic and fighting ooze monsters, or was it elementary replaced with real stuff? Ideally, full explanation of the campaign and what happened. It would be really interesting. This is a loaded question, and this is what sucks. Do you remember your first day of freshman high school? I don't. I'm 27. I'm 27 years old. I was 14, 15. I remember the base details of like the base of what I did. It's like I remember how I felt more than I remember the actual details. I can't really get into specifics. I do remember that it was Motown, not Detroit. It was Motown essentially. Motown, and it was industrial mixed with fantasy. It was industrial. The setting was very industrial because of the Motown aesthetic. We really wanted to go for a steampunk vibe. There were half humanoids and half things. Like the cop, if you had to be a cop, you had to be part pig. If to be a brothel worker, you had to be part siren. There were things like that, but it was mostly very hood aesthetic. A lot of the orcs were black coded, if you want to use that phrase and terminology, is how it operated. The reason they needed to get to Canada was because Detroit was becoming gentrified and it was becoming too industrial, and Canada was not associated with the Mass Republic. The Mass Republic was the entirety of the United States of America, is what we're going to call that. Mass Republic was taking it over and gentrifying everything to kick out all the hybrid races, but Canada was the new land of the free because it was bigger and had more land mass, is how we operate. So getting to Canada or getting to Windsor to get past border control and actually fighting border control to fight those people was the biggest crux of how the campaign operated. So that's really what they had to do. So if you're curious about everything about things like that, then no, I don't have the exact explanations. What they fought were basically just D&D creatures mixed with hood things. Like I say, you have a goblin, that'd be a little, and then the N-I-G-G, the word, that'd be a little. And then big would be a hobgoblin. And then Giga, N-I-G-G, would be a goblin overlord. Like those things like that. That's how we operated. Those are how it worked. It was a lot more fun to do it that way. We got Tom to say the N-word a lot. Anyways, next thing. What was the weather like? Pretty hot outside. Pretty hot. Pretty hot day. Not gonna lie to you. Can you give a summary of what happened in the campaign? They did a lot of homosexual stuff. I'm not even gonna lie to you here. Majority of the stuff they did in the campaign was severely homosexual. And I appreciated that. It was insanely homosexual. We were outside of one of the Blacktail casinos. It's a Blacktail casino. It's a crocodile casino. There were half crocodile people. And what they did, they saw a man. It was a human. He spoke Undercommon and he spoke Abyssal. And he specifically, continually, well, one of the pimps was like, I want to seduce him because he's rich and we wouldn't have to worry about money for our campaign if we get him, right? I said, sure, you know what? Sure. You get him, you're perfectly fine. Okay, yeah, I want him. And they talked to him. I allowed them to tell me. We role played while we played the game. I wanted them to convince me to date them. That's what I wanted them to do. And they did it. Oh my god, they did it. It was insane. It was crazy. It was nuts. 6 guys convincing one old man to do what was essentially provocative activities. And then they married him. And then at night beat him with the soap bars they had in their inventory to the point where he was completely severely mentally disabled, to where they took care of him. And after they took care of him after he was mentally disabled, guess what? They proceeded to have him sign away the rights to everything he owned while him still being the head of the company. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Yeah, it sounds unbelievable because this is real life. This is real life. This is just real. This is just what happens in real life. It did actually happen. Sadly, it actually happened. Sadly, it actually happened. Sadly, it actually happened. I say sadly because I don't know where they're at. And I would love to reconnect and reconvene with these people, but I can't. I don't know where they're at. So, why were the grilled cheeses the key to peace? I don't know if they were the key to peace. More so, the grilled cheese was all I had. I was broke, poor, and destitute. Is what I was when I was younger. I lived in Detroit, Michigan. I don't know if you know Detroit. People hear stories about Detroit. Detroit's so bad. Detroit's evil. Detroit is amazing. I live on a river. Detroit is an amazing metropolitan city. It's one of the biggest metropolitan cities, dude. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of the biggest metropolitan. I don't know why people hate Detroit so much. It's an amazing city. I really don't grasp it. What really made you think D&D was a good idea? I stole a nerd's girl. Right? I stole a nerd's girl one time. And he had proceeded to tell me that he hated the other guy because I was friends with him. So one of my friends, who was a little bit nerdy and played D&D, proceeded to fight the other nerd dude, and they hated each other. I mean, like, really, they always talk mess about each other. However, every Thursday after school in the club room, they would play D&D together. Every Thursday. Every single Thursday, they would do that. And I asked them, I said, why do you guys play D&D if you guys don't like each other? And they said, well, this isn't reality. We can be different people here. Our characters don't hate each other. And it would also be disingenuous to the members of the campaign if we had beef. So we want to get the campaign done. After the campaign, we can work out our differences. But right now, we're playing D&D. And I thought to myself, well, that's pretty interesting. It was pretty nice. Now then. So what would be necessary to end gang war as a whole to have one strong community? Nothing. People in all capacities will always hate each other, especially if they're suffering together. They will hate each other, especially if, let's say, a black person takes out another black person. They're gonna nothing's gonna happen because generally nothing's gonna happen. Like that, a lot of unreported black crimes happen. I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm bringing race politics in this. I'm being realistic and real. That is why I got away with a lot of things back in the day, because people didn't care what I did because I was black. But if a black person attacks person of a Caucasus and a white person, then it might get a bit more news attention. That's how it was back in the day. That's just generally how black people think. That's what happened. It's insane to see that. And so black on black violence is so prevalent because nobody does anything about it. And we want to take out our anger on something. We want to take out our anger, even if it's on ourselves. We see each other as enemies. We are attacking ourselves. And the issue isn't even race related. It's not even race related. It's an issue of class. There are poor white people, obviously. But it's an issue of class more than it is race. And they don't understand it. They think it's an issue of race, but they're mad at themselves, so they take it on each other because it's the same people that they hate, they look at. They hate their blackness so much that they want to destroy their blackness by destroying each other. And that's a big issue. That's the big issue. So that's the big crux there. So yeah. Anyways, a lot of people have a lot of questions, and I'm trying my best to answer all of them. So let's get back to this. What edition were you playing? 4th edition. Did they already seem to have a nerdy side to them, or was it something completely foreign? No, they did not have a nerdy side to them. They were ignorant, selfish, misogynistic, evil, vitriolic men. They were messed up. That is messed up. They were just horrible, evil people. They didn't respect women. They didn't do anything like that. They were not good people in terms of political correctness, but they came together for something. A lot of them had done drive-bys, done horrible things. A few of them were felons, like horrible, evil things. They were just bad people, right? They're just bad people. But I'm very convincing. If I get a moment to talk, I can convince anybody to do a lot of stuff. If I can get a moment to talk, I'm great. 4th edition. I don't know if I said that. Can you collect more gang members to play? Like their Pokemon. I could try, but it'd be very difficult. Could we as a community play gang D&D, or at least a game you made, for the people you play with? That would be such a mass undertaking. I am not a D&D channel. I am not. A lot of people think I'm a D&D channel for some reason. I'm not. I did one story about D&D and got a bunch of people that came together to play D&D. I am not a D&D channel at all. I don't know why people think that. I tell stories. I tell tales of my life. Sometimes I give self-help. Sometimes I give commentary. I post whatever is on my soul. I post what I feel like, and that's how I operate. That's how I run my life. Now then, did you play at other tables? I imagine this means that did I play other campaigns later in my life or during this? I have tried to be a part of the nerd community with Yu-Gi-Oh! And D&D, and even Warhammer and Munchkins, even Settlers of Catan. I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't like being in person. I prefer to do it online. The hygiene amongst people there is negligent. There is no use of deodorant or toothpaste or toothbrushes. They're greasy. Racist, too. For some reason, disgustingly racist. Why? Why? I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. How did I get them into it? Basically, manipulation, not gonna lie to you. I don't grasp it in my mind how gross, even when I go to anime conventions nowadays, still people are disgustingly musty, disgustingly gross. I saw a chair with feces and fecal matter on it from a dude standing up from a Smash Brothers tournament. It was gross. It was disgusting. I was like, what? That's nasty. It was just gross. It was nuts. I think it may be the introverted society of everything, and I don't understand the racism. I don't understand the deep racism. I don't get it. And it's not. I'm not talking about like, oh, they said the N-word. I don't consider that racism. Really, I don't. I'm saying they were using prejudices and stereotypes to say demeaning names and terms to me, and I did not like that. I didn't want to be vitriolic or evil to them, but man, I hate it so much. Anyways, did they enjoy the game at all? Yeah, they enjoyed it. Yeah, they wouldn't have done it if they didn't. People think like, oh well, they did this to maintain peace. No, they didn't care. They just started to actually enjoy the game. So yeah, dark humor can not be racist. Dark humor can just be about situations that are, kind of messed up. Like domestic violence can be dark humor. That could be a thing. Where did the Crips come from? I think 1971. I think Stanley Williams and Raymond Washington were both high schoolers in Los Angeles, I think. And this is just me recounting the memory. I think it was 1971. I might be wrong. 1971. I think it was a protection from violence. I think they were inspired by the Black Panthers. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. Why were you a bully? Because it was fun and I got money for it. Anyways, did you write this before recording this? A big thing people tell me is I must script my videos. Nope. I haven't scripted a single thing. I don't have time to. What? Okay, I work and I do this and I have a wife and a cat. I don't script. I can't write. A lot of YouTubers have a big issue where they have to script or write. I might make a whole video about not scripting videos later, but I don't script any of my videos. I just have a topic, maybe a story in my head that I remember, and I just recount it as I speak on it. That's why I have so many issues and mess ups. So I can edit a lot less, so I can get them out. I just release things. So there goes that. So where are they? I don't know. I have no clue. Say this multiple times. I have no clue where they're at. I wouldn't know where they're at. So yeah, that's how we operate it. That's how it goes. So yeah, there goes all the answers that I don't know if you guys have any other questions that could possibly be any other questions, but I will state this. A lot of people ask me, why wasn't it recorded? We didn't have any pictures? Nope. Why would I take pictures of gang members? Why would I do that? Why? Why would I do that? Are you daft? Are you daft punk? What? Why would I do that? That's psychotic. Why would I do that? Well, you must have some videos. It was 2012, 2011. Not everybody had a phone back then. I think the issue is that people think everything is recorded for some reason. And people think, oh, you gotta record something because you want to capture the memories. If you check my Facebook or Instagram, hell, if you check anything I have no pictures of anything that I ever do. I do things basically every day, and I have no pictures of anything I do. Why don't I have pictures? Because I want to live in the moment more than I want to capture it. And also, if I show proof, no one cares. People prefer my storytelling skills to the actual proof of a situation, to be quite honest with you. No one cares. No one cares. I just want to explain that to you. So yeah, that's the entirety of what that is. And also, people keep asking me, why don't you know them still? Or why? It's 12 years ago, dude. I don't know anybody from high school. I don't know a single person from I don't know one. I can't even name another. I can name my principal, who sucks, Dr. Wheatley. She's the worst person on the planet. And my favorite English teacher, Mr. Nissen. He is a god. Dr. Wheatley sucked. So yeah, why don't I have him on Facebook? A question people are asking me. But why don't I have a Facebook? Why don't I have him on Facebook? I want to point this out. When I was a freshman, I used to make really racially charged memes about a lot of my classmates. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I got banned from Facebook because one of the people I made a racially charged meme about had a hissy fit about it, and they got mad at me. So yeah. And my principal, Dr. Wheatley, that's how she talks, had a dog named Pretty Boy too. I hate that woman so much. She told my mom, and my mom got me to get rid of my Facebook. And I said, you know what? I don't want to deal with this. Sure. It was stupid. It was so stupid. So there goes that. And that is basically the Q&A questions that you wanted about the gang members in D&D thing. So yeah.